What's up, everybody? Welcome to Teen Life Group. We are going to continue our study in the book of Proverbs today. And so we're going to be in Proverbs 18. You guys can go ahead and turn there. While you're getting there, it was really good to have youth group on Sunday night. Last Wednesday night. And to see you guys, we had a good group of teenagers there. And so if you happen to miss, I hope that you will be able to come back soon. I know some people had some different things going on, but love to see you guys come on back out for your youth group on Wednesday night. And I'm looking forward to getting back to life group with you guys as well. We don't know when that will be. And so we're just going to, like I said, every week, we're just going to keep plugging along this way. And we're going to talk about not being a fool today. That's kind of the theme of our study, and the name of our study is Don't Be a Fool. And we've looked at Proverbs 1, 2, and 3, Proverbs 18, verses 1, 2, and 3 over the last couple of weeks. I hope you've enjoyed that study. Today is a little bit different because we really see the benefits of being around a wise person. You know, the last couple lessons have been, hey, stay away from the fool. They separate themselves. You got to be careful. They're like a train, going to run away all over you. And so today there's a little different twist, and I really like a study like this because this is not a warning to look out for somebody. This is a kind of an encouragement to go after this type of person and to be this type of person. But really, you need to find people like this in your life and stay close to those people. So today, the title of our lesson is The Wellspring of Wisdom. And so we're going to look at verse number 4 today. So I hope you guys will go ahead and get there. Make sure you got your Bible with you, all right? Your phone or your paper copy or whatever, and be looking at it with me. So let's look at verse number 4, Proverbs 18:4. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. Now you may see that as the CJB, and you may be wondering, what is the CJB, Pastor Chad? The CJB is the Complete Jewish Bible. I have a copy right here. This is actually a Bible that I got for myself that I'm reading through this year. I try to read through a different version every year. Just something different, something fresh. It helps me to go through familiar passages that I've heard my whole life and to see them worded slightly differently. It kind of helps me think more about what I'm reading and not just rush through it. So I got this. This is kind of a unique translation. Just this guy. It's only done by one man, which is a little bit dangerous. Usually you want a group of people collaborating together, but, you know, it's just my personal devotions, and so it's been good so far. But the reason I got this is because it is a study Bible. So he does have a few notes in here about Jewish customs and Jewish ways of thinking, even today, people that practice Judaism. And so it kind of helps shed some light on some things for me, and it also pronounces God's name in the original Hebrew, which I kind of like. And so it's been good for me. And while I was studying this verse out, there were not many translations that translated it the way I think the true sense of this proverb is, which is the way that I've got it up for you here on the screen. And if you kind of look at it, the words of a man's mouth are deep water. It's also a gushing torrent. It's also a fountain of wisdom. This and the translation that I recommend to you guys a lot, which is the CSB, are the only ones that translate it that way. There's really only one other way to translate it, and that is something like the New American Standard or the ESV. Some of those translations will say the words of a man's mouth are deep water. The fountain of wisdom is a gushing torrent or a bubbling brook. And but really, it's kind of a minute point here, but the whole gist of it is that those three characteristics that you see up there, deep water, gushing torrent or bubbling brook, as you may be seeing, and fountain of wisdom, all of those are describing the man's words, okay, the wise man's words. And really, no matter how you translate it, the sense is the same sense coming through. I just like the way the CJB put it. And I also like the fact that they use the words gushing torrent, because that's going to be important for us later. So I thought it was a fabulous translation, so I got it up here today. Okay, so I want to start with applications first. And this is usually, okay, you guys have heard me speak for years, okay? Normally, when I preach, the application normally comes at the end, okay? Because I've spent time explaining a passage and illustrating a passage. And then once you understand it, then I can apply it for you and help you do that. But we're going to do a little backwards today, all right? I want to apply some things to you first, and then I'm going to answer a question throughout our study. So there are 3 applications, and I'm going to put them up here really quickly, okay? Because to me, this is super common sense, okay? Number 1 is this, is you need to find wise people. Okay, you look at that verse. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. I think it kind of goes without saying that the words that this person is speaking are wise words. Okay, this is a wise person, and this is a person that you need to be around. And so, first of all, you need to find wise people in your life. Okay, do you know wise people in your life? If I said, hey, who are the top 3 people that you go to? Could you tell me 3 people? And not just say, oh, Pastor Chad, because he's my youth pastor. Or my father, because he's my dad. Okay, it's almost like, who are people? Now, hopefully I could be one of those people for you, and hopefully your dad is too. I'm not saying that, but I guess what I'm getting at is, who are people that you would want to go to speak wisdom into you because you consider them a wise person? Okay? And so, do you have people like that in your life that you can go to? I hope that you do. So find wise people, okay? This does not have to be older people, even though they do have a lot of wisdom, all right? It can be people your age, okay? I've got people my age that I go to for counsel and for wisdom. And then number 2 is you need to listen to those people, okay? So it's one thing to find people like this and to listen to what they say, but you've got to hear, you've got to listen to what they're saying. And number 3 is think about it, okay? When they tell you something, you want to really take that to heart and really mull it over in your mind. The key, though, is to find wise people, okay? And so I hope that makes sense, okay? So that's how you should apply this passage to your life, this verse. Now, I'm not going to hit the stop button yet because I want to spend the rest of our time answering a question, and that's the question, why? Why should you find these wise people? Why should you listen to them? Why should you think about what they say? And we're going to spend the rest of our time answering that question, okay? So there are 3 points today, okay? The first one is this. You should listen to people that are wise because, number 1, they have an unending supply of wisdom. And not everybody is this way that has wisdom, but when you find someone who really knows how to live life, you're gonna understand real quickly and figure out that it just seems like no matter the situation, no matter what's going on, they're able to give advice and counsel, and they're able to help no matter what the situation is. And it's just like they've got this unending supply of wisdom that they can give out and dish out. You need to find a person like that. You need to be around people like that and listen to them. So this comes from the part in the verse that says deep waters. The words of a man's mouth are deep water. Okay, so the word deep literally means deep. You guys know what that means, right? And but when it's used figuratively, which is the way it's being used in this proverb, okay, Solomon is not talking about a physical well that is deep with water. He's talking about the words of a man, the words of a person that are wise. And he says they are deep water. So it's being used figuratively. When it's used figuratively in the Bible, this word deep, it's talking about something that cannot be sought out, something that cannot be searched or found out, something that's a little bit mysterious maybe. And some people will look at this verse or this phrase and they'll say this is talking about somebody who has just deep thoughts. And you know what it's like. You guys are talking or whatever, and somebody says something, you're like, dude, that is deep. Okay, you ever used that phrase before? That's deep. What are you saying? You said something that's not just on the surface level of understanding, but something that's a little bit deeper in understanding that you kind of want to think about. That's deep. People who are wise do have a tendency to think and to speak that way at times, but I don't think that's the heart of what Solomon's getting at. I think rather it's depth of content. Okay, our point, number 1, an unending supply of wisdom. And so, again, it's something that cannot be sought out. Let me put a picture up here for you. This is a place that many of you will recognize, and this is Basin Blue in Haiti. And we have gone there before on a missions trip, and we swim in that water. I mean, it's a beautiful place. I mean, that picture does not really do it justice. All right, it's a pretty decent picture, but being there is totally different. It's got this waterfall that kind of comes off of it, and then at the very top of this ledge, which is actually a little higher than where you see the water coming out. The water actually starts a little higher up. That's about 30 feet. Okay, and many of us jumped from this really, this waterfall. It was really cool, really awesome. But, when we were there and we're talking about how deep it is, what the guy said kind of blew me away. I was not expecting it, okay? And we're talking about how deep these things were before I'm going to go jump off of it, right? That is a 30-foot jump, which is about as tall as our church building, okay? You know how deep that water is? 75 feet deep. I was like, what? I mean, for how big that bowl of water is there, for it to be that deep was surprising to me. I did not think it was going to be that. I thought it was going to be taller than it was deep. But it's over twice as deep as it is tall. And so, we jump off. And I did not try to, dive off of this or anything, even though I have dove off high things before. I didn't dive off this. Jump off, and when you land in that water, it is so deep that the bottom is beyond searching out. It's like, no matter where you put your hands, no matter where you swim, no matter how far down you can get, you're only going to be in water. You're not going to reach the bottom of that. 75 feet deep is deep. Now, there are people that can do it, but I ain't one of them, and you're probably not either. 70 feet is deep. 75 feet. And that's kind of the idea of this word. The words of a wise man are like deep water. Okay, they are unending. You can't search out the bottom. If you go to try to touch the bottom, you're not going to make it. You're just going to be surrounded by water. Same way with a man that's this way, a person this way. When they speak wise words, it is just like the words that come out of them, it's just unending. No matter, you're completely surrounded by it. And so their words are like deep water. All right, they're full of content. It is an unending supply of wisdom. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. So now the number. Well, let me before I move on. There's a guy in my life, and I don't want to mention his name because some of you will probably know who this is. Most of you will probably know. And there's a guy in my life. This would be one of the people that I would go to when I'm seeking counsel and those type of things. And I have, there's been times in my life where I've just thought through things and beat my head against things and talk things through with other people. And I'll go to this person and I'll kind of lay it out there for them. And they have a way of just putting it out there, just concisely. It makes perfect sense. And as soon as they speak and I hear what they're saying, I'm like, man, that's exactly right. And it's just like, it doesn't matter what. I've talked to this person about numerous situations and things going on, and it's like every single time they've got a very wise, insightful answer. That's what I think about when I think about this type of person, is that they have, their words are like deep water. It's just an unending supply. So do you have somebody like that? Somebody that you can go to no matter the situation, no matter what you got going on. Why else should you listen to wise people? Number 2 is this, is that they have a refreshing supply of wisdom, okay? So if you look, if we think back about our verse, it says the words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, okay? Gushing torrent. Now, a lot of the translations, several of them will say something like a bubbling brook, okay? And when I think of a bubbling brook, the image that comes to my mind is like a slow, easy flowing, just kind of mountain stream, kind of just bubbling over rocks and just nice and steady and just peaceful. That is not what this word is, okay? This word, it's 2 Hebrew words. One of them is the word torrent, okay, which will be translated brook a lot of the time. The word torrent there is a Hebrew word that means a strong, fast-moving flow of water. And the second word, gushing, is not just to flow. It is to gush out, to just spew out. And normally in this, part of the world here in Israel, Middle East, Egypt, they would have these wadis, which are like a dry riverbed. And in the dry season, it would be pretty dry. And then once the rains started to come, water would come down off the mountains, and they would just flood these areas. These riverbeds would be, within a matter of weeks and months, they would just be surging, all right, and almost overflowing, and water would just everywhere. And that's kind of the idea here of what this is. This is not just an easy flowing little river. Okay, this is something that is torrential. All right, it is moving fast, it's moving strong, and it is gushing forth. And so normally these types of flows of water would not last too awful long. All right, they would last a couple months, and then they would dry up again. Last a couple weeks, they'd dry up again. In my yard, okay, just a smaller scale example, when it rains really hard, I will have a running river that goes through my yard, and it comes really quick, and then it goes away really quick, okay? And that's kind of the idea here. It's just a really quick, just fast, gushing, spewing water, and it's fast and it's strong, and it's not just a peaceful flowing stream, okay? That's why I like this translation, because it actually uses gushing torrent, which is exactly what those words mean. And so I kind of thought about this place. I'll put this up here. A lot of you will remember this place. This is Hebron Falls near Blowing Rock here in the mountains. And, this picture definitely does not do justice to this place. This is a place, I've got several pictures of it. No picture does justice to this place. No single picture does. And so this is the picture you're seeing is kind of at the top of you're in the mountains. And there's this river that flows, and then it kind of goes down and it flattens out. Well, this down section is where all these boulders are. And I'm kind of standing kind of at the top of this and looking down at all these boulders. And the teenagers, whoa, my ring right there. Sorry. Anyway, the teenagers, we've been there before. I went there in college. It's one of my favorite places to go. But these boulders are huge. And here's another picture. This is, if you look real close, I put a circle around him. That's West Mincy a couple of years ago when we went. And I think a couple of teenagers went not too long ago. And so they went and enjoyed it by themselves, which is really, really cool to me for you guys to go do that. But look how small West looks. Okay. How tall is West Mincy? 6 foot? Close to that? Not quite? Something? You can't even barely see him because of how big those rocks are. So this place, and it's huge. And this next picture here is another one that was taken. And you can kind of see the water. It's flowing through. It's fast. It's super fast. You got to be really careful depending on when you go, because if there's been a lot of rain there, that water is moving and those rocks are slick. You got to be careful, as many of you know, all right? And but you kind of see the water just kind of coming through there. It's just boom, boom, boom. This is the final picture I'll show you, all right? This is a picture of me when I was in college. We got up under one of these little waterfalls, and that's actually more of a calmer one. It's just kind of coming over you. It's not so much like a pew type of little cascade there, but we were in that. But it was just like, no matter where you go here, water is coming out of everywhere, and it's coming fast. And to hike to this place, it's over a mile a hike to get down there to it. And I think the Young Life group went to this place, and if I'm not mistaken, they didn't make it to the falls. So maybe if you talk to a Young Life group guy or Young Life groupers, if you're here listening, maybe you can defend yourselves. But they didn't make it all the way. It was too much of a hike or something for them. I don't know, but they didn't make it all the way to the falls. But you hike and you get down to them. It's hot and you're sweating and you've been up and down and all this stuff. And as you get closer to these, the hike gets harder. You're wore out. You're sweating. And then you get into some water like this. This is refreshing. And this is kind of, what I think Solomon had in mind is that this is a gushing torrent, just and it's refreshing. Those desert dry places that receive water is refreshing. And that's the way the wise person's words are. Refreshing. Man, you're burnt out in life. You're thirsty in life. And you speak to a person like this, and what do? It's like out of nowhere comes this refreshment of wisdom and counsel and advice, and just, it's refreshing. And there are people that you can go to, you should be able to go to, that can speak to you this way. I've got another guy. He's actually my age. He's a friend of mine in the ministry, and there's a couple guys I like to keep in touch with. And this particular guy, I don't want to say his name either, just because, but some of you may know him. And he's a guy that I can go to anytime, and he has a very unique way of encouraging me, and I've never spoken to him and him be discouraging to me. Every time I speak to him, it's refreshing. He's a person that thinks and speaks biblically. And so sometimes if there's some advice that I need, he's going to give me biblical, wise counsel. If there is encouragement that I need, he's going to give me wise, biblical encouragement. And we try to sharpen one another that way. And so, this is just a great friend to me in the ministry. And, but he kind of reminds me of this, all right? His wise words are like a gushing torrent for me. They're refreshing, all right? And so again, hopefully you've got people like this, all right? Remember, you need to find wise people, listen to them, and think about what they say, all right? So let's move to our third one here. We'll be done. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, okay? So someone who has an unending supply, it's just deep. You just can't draw it all out. You can't get to the bottom of it. It is also a gushing torrent, all right? It's like a fast, strong, moving flow of water that is refreshing to you when you need it. When you're dry, they refresh you, okay? But also, lastly here, it is a fountain of wisdom. And this is number 3, is that, remember we're answering the question why you should seek these people out and listen to them. The third reason is that they have an experienced supply of wisdom. Okay, an experienced supply of wisdom. And obviously we're focusing on that last phrase, fountain of wisdom. The word fountain, it means, the root of that word means to dig for water. Okay, so it's pretty specific. The word that's used here, the noun that's used, is something that is dug for water, which would be like a well. Okay, it's not something that's natural. It's something that a person digs. And so because of that, the emphasis of this word, and this is important for us, okay? The emphasis of this word is not on the water, per se, okay? These other ones, the focus has been on the water. It's deep water. It's refreshing water. Here, it is a focus on the source of the water. So where does this water come from? You dug a well, and that well is the source of the water. So a wise person's words are like that well, all right? They are a fountain, and what comes out of that fountain? Wisdom, okay? And so the emphasis of this word is on the source of the water and the product from the effort of digging, okay? So it's really about that well, okay? It is the source of physical water, and it is something that produces something because it was dug, okay? The effort that was put into that is why you get water, okay? It's not a natural type of occurrence. You dig it, okay? And really, this well is something that has been proven to produce water, okay? It is a fountain, okay? It's not dried up. There's water there. And so I think, what Solomon is getting at is that a wise person, when they speak, they are like a fountain of wisdom. Okay, and you guys know the word wisdom, skill in general, just knowing how to live life, being skilled at that. We've mentioned that numerous times in youth group. So a person who speaks with wisdom is a person who is like a fountain of wisdom. This is someone that is a source for wisdom. You can go to that person and know what you're going to get. They're not dried up. They're going to be giving you wisdom, okay? And they're someone that, I think the idea of effort is in this word just a little bit. The idea of digging is definitely in this word. And so if a person's words are like that, that's where I get, this third point from, is that this is a person who has experienced supply of wisdom. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And so this is someone who is proven that they know how to live life because they have lived life. This does not have to be an older person, but usually it is. Why? Because they've lived a lot longer. They've lived a lot more of life. And let me put some more pictures up here when I kind of thought about this. Now, this is kind of, the illustration is going to break down slightly. I have not swam in a well that's been dug before. I don't have any pictures of that. But, I thought about this place, and I'm going to put it up here for you. I'm going to use this picture first. You guys know where this is? This is the rock at Waimea Bay on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. And so any of you teenagers who have been with us to Hawaii will know this place. This is my favorite spot in Oahu. I love this place. This rock, as you see, it's kind of half on the sand, half in the ocean. And it's at a particular spot, and you guys may not know this, teenagers, that where we were when we went to this place, this is arguably the best place to go in Hawaii for surfing. So you talk about the North Shore of Hawaii and the World Championship surfing stuff that goes on there. That happens here. Now, their surfing season was not while we were there. Their surfing season is in our winter, like January, I think, is when they really surf. And these waves are huge. And they beat against this rock. And when the waves are so, my friend Pastor Adam, who lives out there, he tells me that it looks totally different in the winter. The water is so high that rock is almost covered, which is hard to believe, but it's just completely different. This rock is beaten and battered by the ocean. I'll put another picture of it up there for you for those of you who have not seen it. But this is it kind of from the road. It may not look very big there, but that's about 20 to 30 feet tall. And actually, you can't see it in this picture because the water level is too high, but the water level actually gets lower, the ocean. And there is a hole that goes through the middle of that, right through the center of that rock, and you can swim through it. And you got to be careful because you don't want to get trapped under there. I did not do that, but I would like to. I need to put it on my bucket list. But, I mean, the water literally dug through this rock, okay? And this rock proved to be just a fortress out there on the ocean, right there on the beach. And here's another picture. I'll put this up here. This is from the ground. Sorry, it's a little blurry. This is from a poorly taken video that we tried to take of me jumping off that rock. And it's just massive. Just out there, it's by itself. I mean, it's just a really cool place. And, I kind of thought about this thing, and just the fortitude and just how solid that this rock was in the midst of such beating, in the midst of the wave, really the ocean cutting through this thing. I thought about another wise person, which is my grandpa. I call him Pappy, and so he's out there. He is 87 years old, and he is someone who has lived, he has a lifetime worth of wisdom. He has a lifetime's worth of mistakes, okay, and successes, though. He has a lifetime's amount of observations with people and experiences with people and situations. And he is someone that I can go to. And he is going to be like a fountain of wisdom. Okay? He has experienced wisdom. He's experienced life. He has experiential wisdom. And he is someone that, I hold very close in my life and would like to, be able to talk to him more than I get to. Do you have people like this in your life? I've had conversations with my grandfather, and it would just be me and him. And we won't be talking about anything in particularly deep. And he'll just say something. And I'm like, man, that is right. That's the way I need to live. That's the way I need to treat people. That's something I need to look out for. And I trust him immensely. Why? Because I see him as a wise person, and I've experienced his wisdom. I've heard him speak, and I know that if I go to that fountain, I'm going to get wisdom. And so he's a solid rock, all right? And that's the type of person that we need to look for. That's the type of person we need to be, okay? We need to be somebody that when people come to us, hey, we are that solid rock that is going to produce wisdom. We're that fountain. We're that fountain that is deep with wisdom, gushing forth with wisdom. So, hey, we'll come back to our first slide here that we looked at. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. And remember we said there's three things, right? You need to find people like this, you need to listen to people like this, and you need to think about what they say. Don't just let it go in one ear and out the other ear. And we spend our time today saying why. Why search these people out? Why should I try to find them? And we said there's three reasons, according to this proverb, why. The words of these people are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. Hey, they have an unending supply of wisdom. They have a refreshing supply of wisdom, and they have an experienced supply of wisdom. So I hope that this makes sense, and I hope it's something that you can try to implement in your life and think about the types of people that you want in your life, and then go after those people, be around those people, listen to those people, talk to those people, ask those people questions, okay? That is a huge comfort and a huge means of success for you in your life, is to have the right counselors. And so, I hope it's been a blessing to you. And if you've got any questions about anything, you feel free to come to me about any of this. And I hope it'll be something that you're thinking about. Again, I hope you're enjoying our study in Proverbs and that you will not be a fool. You guys have a good one.